Hey everyone, this is Michael again, and welcome to the Monday Night Raw review. Monday Night Raw tonight was from the Gainsbridge Fieldhouse in Indianapolis, Indiana. And Monday Night Raw tonight, I thought it was a decent show in my opinion. But tonight on the show, we had Ludwig Kaiser versus Bron Breakker. We had two Money in the Bank qualifying matches. We had Lyra Valkyria versus Kairi Sane and Shayna Baszler. And we also had Gable versus Braun Strowman and Bronson Reed. And then we had the Women's Tag Team Championship on the line where Alba, Fyre, and Isla defend the titles against Kayden and Katana Chance. We had Karrion Kross. He ended up taking on Kofi Kingston. And main event, the World Tag Team Championship was on the line, where the Miz and R-Truth ended up defending the titles against Finn Balor and McDonaugh of the Judgment Day. But overall, Monday Night Raw was a decent show tonight. We also got the Wyatt Six, tonight, but not the whole group. We just only saw Nikki Cross. And then a video of Bo Dallas and, of course, Uncle Howdy. Bo Dallas portraying Uncle Howdy. So it was nice how the way it was edited, which I will get to talking about. But before I get into the review, news came out today. WWE had announced that Indianapolis will be hosting Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, and SummerSlam. So Indianapolis will be getting the three big pay-per-views. Royal Rumble, of course, will be taking place next year, from the looks of it, from the announcement. And WrestleMania 42 will be there in Indianapolis. And for SummerSlam, they're looking like they're going with SummerSlam 2027. So in 2027, SummerSlam will be taking place in Indianapolis for 2 nights. So yeah, good on Indianapolis, for getting the 3 big pay-per-views. Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, and SummerSlam. So from the looks of it, Indianapolis, Indiana paid good money to WWE for them, hosting Royal Rumble and WrestleMania and SummerSlam in their state. So this is good news. Really, like the news of this. But anyways, let's jump right into the review. Monday Night Raw open up tonight with Drew McIntyre. Now, before this, Michael Cole and The Miz was on commentary. Pat McAfee was not present at tonight's Raw. Michael Cole ended up saying that he's not getting into why Pat McAfee was not present for tonight's Monday Night Raw. So it was just, like I said, Michael Cole and The Miz doing commentary. So Drew McIntyre ended up coming through the crowd. He got into the ring. Of course, the crowd started chanting for CM Punk. So Drew McIntyre got on the mic. He ended up saying last week, everyone was talking about how he quit and that they're not talking about that anymore. McIntyre ended up saying that everyone is now talking about what happened Friday on SmackDown. So McIntyre ended up saying that he wants to see it again. So we got a recap of what we saw on SmackDown, where Drew McIntyre ended up attacking Punk in his hometown of Chicago, in the parking garage, because the garage door ended up lifting, and he just saw Punk down on the ground, Drew McIntyre standing over Punk. Punk was a bloodied mess. So that led to McIntyre, picking up Punk and, put him down on the ramp. So McIntyre looked pleased, at that. McIntyre ended up saying that he's prayed for this and that he made it happen. He ended up saying that everyone has been chanting Punk's name for months. McIntyre ended up saying that he's done with the people. He ended up saying when the people chant Punk's name, it's just a memory. He ended up saying that they've spent months listening to him tell them what kind of person Punk is. He ended up saying that at WrestleMania and at Clash at the Castle, Punk screwed him over in front of his family, friends, and country. McIntyre ended up saying that he promised his wife he would win the World Heavyweight Championship, but Punk prevented that from happening. So McIntyre ended up saying that he is going to just ignore the fans, whenever the fans end up chanting for CM Punk. So McIntyre ended up saying that he's going to talk right to CM Punk, who is watching. McIntyre ended up saying that he hopes Punk is uncomfortable and in pain, being fed through a straw because he ended up doing that to him. McIntyre ended up saying that he put Punk there. McIntyre ended up saying that he didn't just take Punk's dignity, he also took this, to which he held up a bracelet with the Chicago colors. It's the bracelet that he had taken off of Punk Friday on SmackDown. And on the bracelet, it said, AJ, of course, AJ Lee, Punk's wife, and Larry, of course, is Punk's dog. So McIntyre was like, oh, this bracelet is worth about 50 cents. He ended up saying, but to Punk, it is priceless. So McIntyre ended up saying that Punk wears the bracelet when he leaves home, so he can take them with him and not feel alone. Because he ended up mentioning, Punk's wife, AJ Lee, and Larry, to which McIntyre ended up saying, oh, that's Punk's stupid-looking dog. So, because of this, Larry, got a chant from the crowd. So, yeah, the crowd started chanting for Punk's dog. So McIntyre ended up saying that Punk is alone, and he's also in pain and miserable. He ended up saying this will be a theme going forward. McIntyre ended up saying that he's going to enter the Money in the Bank ladder match, and Punk will watch alone, in pain and miserable, and that he will win the match. McIntyre then wanted to say that he knows what it feels like to be alone when Punk screwed him. So he ended up saying that the roster and management accepted him, despite his warnings. McIntyre ended up going on to say that he isn't alone now. McIntyre put the bracelet on, Punk's bracelet. He ended up saying that he has Punk's dog and wife in his corner now. He then went on to say that at Money in the Bank, he'll win the contract and cash it in that night, and that Punk will watch alone in pain and miserable with his family in his corner. McIntyre ended up saying that he will become World Heavyweight Champion in spite of Punk's ass. So McIntyre then walked off, and pretty much that was basically that. But overall, I thought this was a good promo from McIntyre here. Showing Punk's bracelet, saying that, AJ and Larry are his family now, and that he's got both of them in his corner. But really enjoyed the promo. And then I went to a recap of the White Six, which made their debut last week on Monday Night Raw. Fantastic debut it was, for them. Led by Uncle Howdy, of course, Bo Dallas. And you had Nikki Cross in the mask. And you also have Eric Rowan, a part of the other White Six, because you saw one of them have a red beard. And also Dexter Lumis is a part of the group, and Joe Gacy. Because the reason why we know that is because after the show, there was a picture that surfaced of a fan. I guess this was in a burger place, and so the fan ended up taking the picture with Nikki Kross and Bo Dallas, Joe Gacy, Eric Rowan, and Dexter Lumis. So there's your Wyatt Six. But we're still missing the sixth member. Who that sixth member is, we don't know. I hope it's not Alexa Bliss. And then, after that recap, we had a black SUV end up pulling into the garage of the arena. Out of the SUV was Chad Gable. Chad Gable came out of the SUV and showed a cut on his head because he ended up getting attacked by the Wyatt Six last week. He was bleeding from the head. And Chad Gable had security. Security ended up escorting Gable into the arena. Chad Gable was like to the camera, "Oh, get off of me, get off of me." He was not happy with the camera being around him. So, but Chad Gable is alive and well. Because the whole thing after last week, there was memes going on and people joking about, "Oh, Chad Gable, he passed away, he died." But yeah, he's alive and well. That became the joke of, last week. "Oh, Chad Gable, is he alive?" And then as Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, Kathy Kelly was outside Chad Gable's locker room. And Chad Gable's locker room was guarded by 2 security guards. Kathy Kelly ended up saying that she wants to get a comment from Chad Gable about his Money in the Bank qualifying match later on in the night. Kathy Kelly ended up saying that many superstars are shocked that Chad Gable will be in action later on tonight. And she ended up saying that she wants to find out about his injuries at the hands of the Wyatt Six. So that was that. And then we had the first match of the night. Bron Breakker versus Ludwig Kaiser. And this match came about, because last week, Ludwig Kaiser attacked Sheamus while Sheamus was, taking on Bron Breakker, which caused Breakker to lose the match by disqualification. And then Breakker would hit Sheamus with the spear on the floor. And then Breakker ended up delivering a spear to Kaiser on the floor. Vicious spear. So that's how this whole matchup came to be. So Jackie Merwin was backstage with Ludwig Kaiser. Kaiser ended up telling Jackie Redmond that he wants to forget about Sheamus. He ended up saying Braun Strowman, and then he corrected himself to say Bron Breakker. So Kaiser ended up forgetting that he was taking on Bron Breakker. He mentioned Braun Strowman. So Kaiser ended up saying that Breakker is strong, explosive, and fast. Kaiser ended up saying that he experienced that last week, and that tonight he will prove that he is destined for greatness. Kaiser ended up going on to say that he's going to show the world that Bron Breakker is no Ludwig Kaiser. So Kaiser ended up making his way out. Bron Breakker came out first. So the match got underway, which this was a decent match here. The crowd started to bark, giving, a pop to Bron Breakker. Bron Breakker has been so over, and you could tell why. The guy is a beast. So both Breakker and Kaiser locked up. Breakker powered Kaiser into the corner and pressed him back. So we had Breakker end up grabbing Kaiser by the throat, pressed him back. Kaiser ended up kicking and punching Breakker back, and then he ended up hitting a forearm to Breakker's face. Breakker then punched back. Kaiser then ended up hooking a side headlock on Breakker. Kaiser ended up reversing the whip. Breakker then ducked the clothesline from Kaiser, and Kaiser ended up hitting the ropes hard. So Breakker ended up pulling Kaiser up. Kaiser ended up pushing Breakker into the ropes and pulled him through first into the top rope. Kaiser ended up attacking Breakker, who was stunned on the canvas. Breakker then ended up popping up, and he powered Kaiser into the corner with some shoulder thrust to his midsection. So Kaiser, at this point, he was starting to beg Bron Breakker off. He was like, but Breakker ended up continuing with some shoulder thrust to Kaiser. So the referee ended up getting between the both of them. He ended up getting Breakker back, but Kaiser ended up reaching over the ref, and he ended up gorging Breakker's eyes. Kaiser then ended up taking Breakker down and started kicking away at him. Kaiser then ended up driving Breakker into the ring post shoulder first, and then he drop kicked him to the floor. Kaiser soon ended up following Breakker to the outside, and he ended up kicking Breakker in the face, to which the crowd started chanting, "You suck," to Kaiser. Breakker then ended up pounding Kaiser into the ring apron. Breakker then got on the apron, and he ended up hitting Kaiser with a diving clothesline over the commentary table, which looked great. And so Monday Night Raw went to commercial. Then when it came back from commercial, Bron Breakker was shown down on the apron, and Kaiser started kicking Breakker down, ended up shoving him. Kaiser then slapped Breakker in the face, which only infuriated Breakker. Kaiser then ended up chopping away at Breakker, but Breakker started to fight back. Breakker then ended up running through a clothesline, and he connected with a leaping back elbow to Kaiser. Breakker then connected with a standing overhead belly-to-belly suplex on Kaiser. Breakker then followed up with a German suplex to Kaiser. Breakker then ended up putting Kaiser on the top rope, but Kaiser ended up shoving Breakker back. Breakker scaled the ropes, and he had pinned a nice Frankensteiner, which was awesome, and the crowd went nuts when Breakker ended up hitting that Frankensteiner. So Breakker ended up grabbing Kaiser by the throat. He ended up going for a gorilla press, but Kaiser ended up slipping out. Breakker then ended up giving Kaiser a belly-to-belly suplex over the top rope. Breakker ended up going to the outside to follow Kaiser. Breakker ended up charging to hit a spear at Kaiser, but Kaiser ended up sidestepping, and Breakker ended up going headfirst into the ring steps. So that led to Kaiser ended up charging to hit a kick to Breakker, but Sheamus cut Kaiser off with a knee to his face, and Kaiser ended up winning the match by DQ. So we had Sheamus end up clearing the commentary table off post-match. Sheamus ended up going to powerbomb Kaiser through the table, but Bron Breakker ended up delivering the spear to Sheamus, knocking Sheamus down and dropping Kaiser. And pretty much that was basically that. Breakker was irate as he walked off. But overall, this was a decent match here. And then we saw the Judgment Day. The Judgment Day was playing 2K24 on the PS5, and Damian Priest ended up walking in. Dominic ended up saying that these are all gifts from Liv Morgan. So Dominic ended up showing that Liv Morgan got his phone number, and he ended up pulling up a picture she sent him. He ended up showing it to, Damian Priest, and the entire, Judgment Day looked at it. Carlito was stunned, and he was like, "That's cool." To which Priest then ended up admonishing Carlito. Priest ended up saying to Dominic that he will have to explain to Rhea Ripley how Liv Morgan got his number. So Priest ended up telling Dominic to find a way to end this tonight. He ended up saying as for the rest of the Judgment Day, he wants them to concentrate on Braun Strowman, who has had their way with them these past few weeks. So Damian Priest was like to the rest of them, "Oh, enjoy your game." So they end up agreeing that they need to take care of Braun Strowman. So pretty much that was basically that. I'm like, how did Liv Morgan end up getting Dominic's number? And then, as Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, Bron Breakker was walking backstage. Breakker ended up pounding on Adam Pearce's door. Pearce angrily ended up answering. He ended up asking Bron Breakker what his problem is. Bron Breakker said to Adam Pearce that he is tired of people getting into his business, and he would have beaten Kaiser if it wasn't for Sheamus. He ended up saying that he would have beaten Sheamus last week if it wasn't for Kaiser. So Bron Breakker ended up telling Adam Pearce that he wants a match against Sami Zayn for the Intercontinental Championship. So Pearce ended up telling Breakker to calm down. So Sami Zayn was shown standing behind Bron Breakker. Sami Zayn ended up saying to Breakker that no one is standing in his way right now. He ended up saying to Bron Breakker, anytime, any place. And that Breakker just needs to name it. So Breakker then ended up challenging Sami Zayn to a match for the Intercontinental Championship at Money in the Bank. So Sami Zayn ended up saying to Adam Pearce, he was like, you tell Bron Breakker, he's got his match. So Adam Pearce made the match official, to which then Breakker ended up saying, I'm going to destroy you. So that was that. So there you go. Bron Breakker versus Sami Zayn for the Intercontinental Championship at Money in the Bank. Is this a sign that Sami Zayn is going to drop the title to Bron Breakker, and that Bron Breakker is going to be your new Intercontinental Champion? Might happen. And then we had the Money in the Bank Triple Threat qualifying match. Lyra Valkyria versus Kairi Sane versus Shayna Baszler. This was a decent match here, but we all knew who was going to win this match. You think Kairi Sane was going to win the match? No. You think Shayna Baszler was going to win the match? No. Of course, it was going to be Lyra Valkyria. So, match got underway. Lyra Valkyria ended up using Kairi Sane to knock Baszler back. She ended up hitting Kairi Sane with a hip toss. She ended up going for the cover, to which Kairi Sane ended up kicking out. Baszler then ended up hitting Valkyria with a clothesline, and then she ended up hitting Kairi Sane with an inverted gut-wrench suplex. So Baszler ended up going for the cover, to which Kairi Sane ended up kicking out. Baszler ended up sending Valkyria to the corner, but Valkyria ended up slingshotting over Baszler. Valkyria ended up taking Baszler down, and she ended up hitting a Northern Light suplex, and she ended up going for the cover, to which Kairi Sane broke up the pin. Lyra ended up reversing a whip, but Kairi Sane ended up holding on. Kairi Sane ended up hitting both Lyra and Baszler with a double head scissor takeover, knocking them both out of the ring. Kairi Sane then ended up going up to the top, and she ended up hitting the both of them with a diving crossbody block to the floor. So then when Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, Kairi Sane ended up countering a suplex from Baszler on the apron into a DDT. Valkyria ended up hitting a baseball slide on Kairi Sane, and she ended up getting Kairi Sane into the ring. Valkyria ended up hitting a missile dropkick, and then she ended up hitting a fisherman suplex to Kairi Sane. So she ended up going for the cover, to which Kairi Sane ended up kicking out. Baszler then ended up kicking Valkyria in the face and started clubbing Valkyria's back. So at the end of the match, we had Lyra end up quickly grabbing Kairi Sane. She ended up hitting Nightwing on Sane. She ended up going for the cover. And there you go. Lyra Valkyria ended up winning the match. So Lyra Valkyria is now joining Io Sky and Chelsea Green in the Women's Money in the Bank ladder match. Obviously, we all knew Lyra was winning this. But overall, decent match. And then we saw Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre was backstage arguing with Adam Pearce. So Pearce ended up saying to McIntyre that everyone has to qualify for the Money in the Bank match, especially someone who quit last week. So Pearce ended up saying that McIntyre doesn't deserve a spot in the Money in the Bank after all the disruptions that he's caused. McIntyre ended up saying that he hasn't deserved all the things CM Punk has done to him. He ended up saying that he has faith that Adam Pearce will do the right thing, or he'll find out the meaning of disruption. So McIntyre then charged off. He walked past Liv Morgan. Liv Morgan ended up smiling as the camera ended up following her. So, the camera ended up following Liv Morgan through, gorilla position and out to the stage to make her way out. Of course, she was shown wearing a shirt that said Daddy's Girl on it. Of course, a reference to her calling Dominic Daddy. So she ended up making her way out, and then Monday Night Raw went to commercial. Then, when Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, Liv Morgan ended up standing in the ring. She ended up saying, "Oh, Dominic." And she ended up saying that she couldn't get to Dominic backstage, and she figured she would come out here to get Dominic's attention. Liv ended up saying that she hopes Dom likes the gifts she sent, but she hopes he likes the text she sent even more. Liv ended up saying that she knows Dominic is playing hard to get, but once he realizes she is what she wants, she has so much more. She ended up saying Rhea Ripley never got Dominic gifts. Liv ended up saying that she cares about Dominic. She ended up calling him Daddy Dom and wants him to come out to thank her for the gifts. To which Liv ended up saying that she promises to give Dom one more gift in front of all these people. So Dominic didn't come out. Liv got Zelina Vega. So Zelina Vega ended up coming out. Vega got on the mic. She ended up saying that she has a gift for everyone, which is shutting Liv Morgan the hell up. Zelina ended up saying that she doesn't know why Liv Morgan is obsessed with Rhea Ripley's sloppy seconds, but that's not why she's out here. Zelina Vega ended up saying that she is out here to talk about something Liv Morgan forgot about. She ended up saying while Liv Morgan is out here chasing Dirty D, Dominic, Zelina Vega ended up saying that she is out here chasing the Women's World Championship. So Liv Morgan ended up saying that the title is the most important thing in her life. She ended up saying that she took out Rhea Ripley for this championship, and she put Becky Lynch into early retirement for the title. She ended up saying nothing means more. Zelina Vega ended up saying that Liv Morgan is all about having fun. She ended up saying that Liv Morgan schemed for those opportunities, and that she has starved for hers. Zelina Vega ended up saying that will always top Liv Morgan's libido. Liv Morgan ended up saying that that's not true. To which Zelina Vega ended up telling Liv Morgan to put the title on the line right here in Indianapolis. To which the crowd ended up liking that. So Liv Morgan ended up telling Zelina Vega, I love to, but I'm in the middle of something. So next week. So Zelina Vega was like, oh, I won't wait until next week. So then Dominic ended up making his way to the ring. So Dominic ended up going to speak, and the crowd loudly booed him, to which those were piped in boos, of course. So Liv Morgan ended up asking Dominic, or Daddy Dom, to her, if he liked the gifts. So Dominic ended up saying that he got the gifts, but he didn't like them. So Liv Morgan ended up saying that he knows that he loved the text she sent. And she ended up holding the ropes open for Dominic, for him to enter the ring. So the crowd started chanting sloppy seconds. Zelina Vega ended up saying that if Liv Morgan was too afraid to fight, she didn't have to bring out her man. To which Dominic ended up saying, oh, I'm not her man. And the crowd ended up booing at that. So every time Dominic went to speak here, the crowd just booed, or the piping boos came into play. So Dominic ended up saying that if Zelina Vega is going to fight for the Women's World Championship, he wants to help. So Zelina Vega ended up saying that she wants to hear this. So Dominic ended up saying that he knows Zelina Vega has had her differences with Mommy. with Rhea Ripley. But he'd rather see anyone but Liv Morgan have the Women's World Championship. So Zelina Vega started to talk trash to Dominic, and Liv Morgan ended up attacking Zelina Vega from behind, and that led to Rey Mysterio, Dom's father, run down. Rey ended up pulling Liv Morgan off of Zelina Vega. Rey then ended up bumping Dominic as he ended up running over. Zelina Vega ended up backing Rey into his son. So Dominic then ended up shoving his father down hard. So Liv Morgan ended up looking pleased at that, and she ended up chasing after Dominic as he ended up heading to the back. And you all know where this is headed. We're going to be getting Rey Mysterio versus Dominic next week on Monday Night Raw, and they announced it later on in the night. I am so over of seeing Rey and Dominic go at it. So over. Please, move on. But overall, this segment was just meh, in my opinion. And then we saw Kathy Kelly. Kathy Kelly was still outside of Chad Gable's locker room, of course guarded by the two security guards. Adam Pearce walked out of Chad Gable's locker room. Adam Pearce ended up saying to Kathy Kelly that Chad Gable is shaken, but he is medically cleared to compete. So Kathy Kelly ended up asking Pearce about Gable's mental state. Pearce ended up telling Kathy Kelly that he's not in a position to talk about that, and that Gable is focused on for the match later on in the night. So that was basically that. And then we saw a video package of Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins ended up making his return last week on Monday Night Raw, the first time since WrestleMania, and it was unexpected seeing Seth Rollins return last week. So we had a video package showcasing, Rollins, it highlights, Rollins losing the World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania, and then later on, Roman Reigns ended up smashing him in the back with a chair. And we just saw, footage, pics of Rollins when he was a kid. He kept saying that he sacrificed his well-being for something he loves. So it showed footage of Rollins rehabbing his knee and, just him training. So Rollins ended up saying that he accepts a challenge from Damian Priest for a match for the World Heavyweight Championship at Money in the Bank. So there you go. Damian Priest will defend the World Heavyweight Championship against Seth Rollins at Money in the Bank in 1 week. So there you go. But overall, it was a very good video package. WWE does a really good job, with their video packages. Thought this one was very well done. And then as Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, we had Dominic. Dominic was walking backstage as Liv Morgan ended up chasing after him. Dominic ended up telling Liv to leave him alone, to which Liv Morgan ended up saying that she wants to thank Dominic for saving her from his deadbeat dad. So Dominic ended up saying that he didn't save her. He just did it because his father is a deadbeat. So Dominic ended up storming off. And then R-Truth walked up to Liv Morgan. R-Truth ended up saying that he saw Liv talking to Tom and Nick. And then he ended up saying that he has a soft spot for them. R-Truth ended up saying that he knows they're playing hard to get. Liv Morgan ended up saying that he wants to get Dominic a match against his father next week, but she hopes that she can get his friends a Raw Tag Team Championship match later on tonight. To which R-Truth ended up appearing smitten with Liv Morgan, ended up saying that he's one half of the champions. So R-Truth ended up agreeing to the match, even though he doesn't like JD McDonaugh and his big head. So Liv Morgan ended up telling R-Truth to make sure Adam Pearce signs off on the match. So on commentary, The Miz was shocked. He got up and he ran to the back to stop the match to stop this match from, taking place or getting official. And because of this, Michael Cole led the show on commentary by himself. Yes, Michael Cole did commentary by himself for the rest of the show. So we had the next match, which was the Money in the Bank Triple Threat qualifying match, Braun Strowman versus Bronson Reed versus Chad Gable. So Bronson Reed made his entrance first, and then he was followed up by Chad Gable. Chad Gable came out, and he got on the mic. He kept asking the crowd if they believe in miracles, because rumors of his demise are greatly exaggerated. Which was the big thing last week, after he got attacked by the Wyatt Six. He kept saying that he was bludgeoned and left for dead by monsters last week, and that he cannot be killed. He kept saying Chad Gable lives. He kept saying in an act of true bravery, he decided to come out and face 2 more monsters. He kept saying, much like last week, he'll be victorious and become master in the bank. And so we saw like the LED screens, they started to scramble as Chad Gable got into the ring. So, Chad Gable ended up having to go through Braun Strowman again. Since he won against Braun Strowman last week in a one-on-one match. So the match got underway, which this was a, decent match here. Chad Gable ended up chopping at Bronson Reed's chest. Reed didn't even feel it. It did nothing to him. So Chad Gable ended up chopping away at Braun Strowman, and it did nothing to Strowman. So Bronson Reed ended up smashing Chad Gable with a chop. Strowman then ended up chopping Gable down. Gable then rolled out of the ring to recover. Strowman ended up staring at Bronson Reed. So Braun Strowman and Bronson Reed ended up circling the ring. They locked up. Bronson Reed ended up hooking a side headlock on Strowman, but Strowman whipped Reed off. Reed ended up ducking a clothesline from Strowman, and Reed ended up hitting a shoulder tackle that knocked Strowman back, to which Strowman ended up falling into the ropes, and then he rebounded with a shoulder tackle that floored Bronson Reed. Strowman ended up charging, but Bronson Reed ended up pulling the top rope down to get Strowman out of the ring. Gable ended up going for a German suplex on Bronson Reed, but Gable couldn't even lift, Reed. Bronson Reed then gorilla pressed Gable out of the ring into Strowman's arms, and then Reed ended up hitting the both of them with a suicide dive. So he took out both Strowman and Gable. So then as Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, Strowman ended up shoving Gable out of the ring. Bronson Reed ended up avalanching Strowman from behind. Chad Gable ended up getting into the ring. He ended up hitting Reed with a drop kick. Gable then avoided a senton splash from Reed, and he ended up hitting a corner clothesline. Gable ended up hitting Strowman with a corner clothesline. Bronson Reed ended up running through a clothesline and avalanche Strowman. Reed then avalanched Gable and whipped him into Strowman. Strowman ended up shoulder tackling Reed down and booted Gable in the face. Strowman then ended up throwing Gable into Reed, to which Reed and Gable were on the outside. And that led to Braun Strowman end up signaling for the Strowman Express. He ended up going outside to run both Reed and Gable over. So Strowman ended up getting in the ring. He ended up charging, but he ended up hitting the ring post shoulder first because Bronson Reed ended up moving out of the way. So later on, we had Dominic Mysterio, Balor, Carlito, and Jaden McDonaugh end up running down to attack Braun Strowman. Strowman ended up trying to fight them off, but we had Dominic, Balor, Carlito, and McDonaugh end up overwhelming Strowman on the ramp. So Gable ended up climbing to the top rope, and he hit Bronson Reed with a moonsault, nice looking moonsault from Chad Gable, as always. So Chad Gable ended up going for the cover, and there you go. Chad Gable ended up winning the match, so he advances into the men's Money in the Bank ladder match. Post-match, the lights end up going out in the arena. We had the people end up taking out their phones, shining the flashlights, on their phones, of course, the Fireflies, and smoke filled the ring. We had a piano key striking over and over. Gable was shown holding the cut on his forehead, and this mysterious woman, of course, Nikki Kross, ended up crawling into the ring. Gable ended up falling back in fear as she ended up crawling up to him. Chad Gable got out of the ring and retreated. So, of course, Nikki Kross ended up crawling out of the ring and picked up a box. She walked over to the commentary table and put the box in front of Michael Cole. And when she put the box in front of Michael Cole, the security guards were laid out. And I'm like, how did the security guards end up getting laid out when we only saw, Nikki Kross, the mysterious woman, there? So she put the box on the commentary table in front of Michael Cole and left through the crowd. And pretty much that was basically that. And then, as Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, they ended up replaying what we saw, with the mysterious woman Nikki Kross delivering the box to Michael Cole. So Michael Cole ended up saying on commentary that the security guards were laid out. Cole ended up saying that the box was addressed to Pat McAfee. Michael Cole then opened the box, and inside the box was a VHS with a label that said "Play Me" on it. So Michael Cole ended up explaining to the audience what a VHS is, because there are, of course, young people who don't know what a VHS is. And I thought that this was pretty cool. It was very nostalgic, seeing a VHS, tape there, that was being used, but there are some people who still collect VHSs. I collect VHS from time to time, but it's for nostalgic viewing. So Michael Cole ended up giving the VHS to someone from the production truck to play it. So we end up seeing that later on, what was on the VHS. Now we saw Chad Gable. Chad Gable was walking backstage. He was nervous. He knocked on the door. Otis ended up emerging from the room. Chad Gable ended up asking Otis that I need to talk to you guys. So Akira Tozawa and Maxine Dupree ended up emerging from the room. Gable ended up telling them that last week was terrifying, but all he saw was his family. He ended up saying that it takes a big man to admit when he's wrong. Chad Gable ended up saying to them that he stepped over the line, and so he ended up apologizing to Otis Tozawa and Maxine Dupree. Gable ended up telling them that families fight, but stick together. Otis then ended up saying that anyone who hurts Maxine or Tozawa isn't family. Otis ended up saying that he is sorry for what happened to Chad Gable, but he meant it when he said they were done. So Maxine ended up saying that Chad Gable really hurt Otis, but they're glad he's okay. Maxine ended up saying that they just need some time. She ended up saying that she'll talk to Otis. So then the Creed brothers and Ivy Nile walked over to check on Chad Gable. Chad Gable ended up saying to them that he's not all right and that he needs a lot of help. And so this is where Chad Gable is going to, align with the Creed brothers and Ivy Nile, and that will be your new Alpha Academy. So there you go. This is just a start. And then we had Alba Fyre and Isla Dawn versus Kayden Carter and Katana Chance. This was for the Women's Tag Team Championship, and this was a quick match here. Obviously, Alba Fyre and Isla Dawn end up retaining the titles. Alba Fyre and Isla Dawn end up hitting a Gory Bomb leg sweep combo on Katana Chance, and that was that. Alba Fyre and Isla Dawn retained the Women's Tag Team Championship. Post-match, EL Sky, Kairi, Sane, and Dakota Kai, Damage Control, end up attacking Fyre and Dawn from behind. and then they ended up attacking Kayden Carter, Katana Chance. Io Sky ended up hitting Alba, Fyre, and Isla with over the moonsault onto both of them. And so Damage Control stood tall in the ring, and pretty much that was basically that. Because, of course, Io Sky was like, oh, Damage Control needs to change. She said that for 2 weeks. But overall, it was a quick match here. Nothing great, nothing special. But we all knew that Fyre and Dawn were going to retain the titles. And then we saw Damian Priest. Damian Priest ended up going to enter the Judgment Day clubhouse, and Liv Morgan walked out of there. Priest ended up saying that he hopes Dominic finished it. And Finn Balor was the only one in there. Balor was the only one in the clubhouse. So Priest was like, this looks sketchy. Balor ended up saying that he thought Priest had gone home, but he doesn't appreciate the accusations. Balor ended up saying that Liv Morgan wanted to tell them she got Dominic a match against Rey Mysterio next week. And as for tonight, she got him and JD McDonagh a World Tag Team Championship match. He ended up saying that it doesn't matter how they get the match, as long as they win the titles. Balor ended up saying that he will take what he can get. So Liv Morgan ended up saying, seems too good to be true. So Priest ended up saying, that sounds right. Priest ended up saying that he'll go handle his business and wishes Balor luck with his title match. So that was basically that. And then, as Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, we finally got a promo for the WrestleMania 40 documentary, which this was supposed to come out, after WrestleMania, but it got pushed, and we all know who to thank for that. Probably we got to thank Dwayne Johnson. We got to thank The Rock. The Rock is the only one that was going to approve this documentary, because they got to showcase him, since, he was, part of WrestleMania. So it'll finally be available on YouTube next Wednesday at 7 o'clock. So I can't wait to check out the documentary. Hopefully, it'll be good, considering that I was there at WrestleMania. It was my very first WrestleMania. Had a good time. So can't wait to check out this documentary. And then we saw The Miz. The Miz ended up finding R-Truth backstage, and that he hopes that R-Truth didn't find Adam Pearce. Truth ended up saying to The Miz that he did find Pearce, and he wonders why The Miz isn't in his gear. To which The Miz ended up saying to Truth that he's been on commentary for the past hour. Truth ended up saying that he did it for love. He ended up saying that Liv Morgan and Dominic remind him of a rom-com. To which Miz ended up saying, this is about them. Truth ended up saying that he only likes Miz as a friend. And that was basically that. And then we had Damian Priest. Damian Priest ended up heading to the ring. Priest ended up getting on the mic. He ended up saying that we all saw Seth Rollins' video, which was humbling and inspiring. He ended up saying that he understands why Seth Rollins said he sees himself in him. Priest ended up saying that he gets it. They stand out from the group and can represent Raw as the champion. Priest ended up saying that he sees in Rollins a man he doesn't want to become. Priest ended up saying that he doesn't want to stand in the ring and see his successor, someone who is bigger, stronger, and better. Priest ended up saying that Rollins is great, but he is the champion. Priest ended up saying that as long as he is World Heavyweight Champion, Rollins will never see the mountaintop again. So that led to Seth Rollins making his way to the ring. Rollins was in, his outfit looked very Cruella de Vil-ish, from 101 Dalmatians. So Rollins listened to the crowd as the crowd started doing whoa, his theme music, singing along to it. So Rollins ended up getting on the mic. He ended up greeting Indianapolis. He kept saying that the Royal Rumble is coming to the city next year, much to the delight of the crowd. But Rollins was like, oh, that's in February. But tonight is Monday. He kept saying that it's still his show. It's Monday Night Rollins. And the crowd started singing his song again. So Rollins ended up saying, Priest, all rise for El Campeon. But Rollins ended up saying, all sing for Seth Rollins. He kept saying Priest wants to run his mouth about him, saying as long as he's champion, he'll never get it back. So Rollins ended up saying, that is bold. But the problem is, he doesn't believe Priest. Rollins ended up saying that he doesn't believe in that confidence. He kept thinking that it's false bravado. Rollins ended up asking the crowd if they believe in Priest's bullcrap. And the crowd ended up not believing it. Rollins ended up saying that he'll tell Priest why he don't buy him in that position. He ended up saying that his actions and words don't line up. Rollins ended up saying that Priest says the right things, but in both his title defenses, he needed the help of Judgment Day and Punk. Rollins ended up saying that if it wasn't for them, Priest wouldn't be the World Heavyweight Champion. Priest ended up saying that he gets the opinion, and that Rollins is right. He ended up saying that he didn't ask for help, but people got involved. Priest ended up saying that he wants some real talk. So the crowd started chanting, you suck, to Priest. Priest ended up saying that he's the World Heavyweight Champion. Priest ended up saying that he can't change what happened in the past, but he can stand in the present. So Rollins ended up saying that he represents the past and holds a whole lot of nothing. To which Rollins ended up saying, for now. Rollins ended up saying that he didn't come out here to run Priest down, and that he respects Priest. Rollins ended up saying that he doesn't like to be one-upped, which Priest did when he challenged him to a match at Money in the Bank. So Rollins ended up saying that he's here to one-up Priest, and that he wants to sweeten the pot at Money in the Bank. He ended up saying that it doesn't need to be anything official. It can be a side bet or a gentleman's agreement. Rollins ended up saying that if Priest beats him to retain the World Heavyweight Championship at Money in the Bank, he'll get his wish. And if Priest beats him, as long as he's the World Heavyweight Champion, Rollins will not challenge for the title again. And you have to say when Rollins beats Priest for the title, he's been keeping warm for Rollins for 2 months. Priest has to leave the Judgment Day. So Rollins ended up saying that they'll find out if Priest really can walk a mile in his shoes. So Rollins ended up asking, what do you say, El Campeon? Priest ended up saying that he likes it, and that he is the champion. So to him, Judgment Day needs him more than he does. So Priest then accepted the challenge. Both Priest and Rollins then shook hands. And that led to the Ring General, Gunther, King of the Ring winner, making his way out. Finally, Gunther is back. Gunther ended up standing between Rollins and Priest. Gunther ended up saying that he fully understands that there is a lot on the line here. The World Heavyweight Championship and this gentleman's agreement. He ended up saying that at Money in the Bank, the man who established the prestige of the World Heavyweight Championship, Seth Rollins, against the man who has been carrying the show on his back for 2 months. Gunther ended up saying that he cannot wait to see the match. Gunther ended up saying, gentlemen, may the better man win, but don't make a mistake. He ended up saying that at SummerSlam, the better man of you two will be the lesser man when he steps into the ring with me. So Gunther ended up walking off, and that was basically that. So, there you go. I thought it was a good segment here. So, if Priest beats Rollins, as long as Priest is the champion, Rollins will not challenge Priest for the World Heavyweight Championship again. So, and then when, Rollins beats Priest, Priest has to leave the Judgment Day. To which, that's probably what they're setting up for. So, Damian Priest is going to be a babyface. So from the looks of it, if he loses the title to Seth Rollins. So then Michael Cole ended up saying that they were able to track down an old VCR and will show the contents of the tape that was delivered. So we saw it. The screen kind of cackled, just like in the form of a VHS. You got the lines, very nostalgic, throwback to, the quality of VHS. So Uncle Howdy was shown. Uncle Howdy ended up asking someone if they feel happy. And how have you been since the loss? Do you feel as though you have been forgotten? Do you remember who you are? So Bo Dallas was shown. He ended up saying that he is nobody. So things got personal because Uncle Howdy ended up asking Bo Dallas, how did it feel when your brother died? Bray Wyatt. Bo Dallas ended up saying that it felt like the most important thing was taken from him, as nothing would matter again. So Uncle Howdy then ended up asking if Bo Dallas is exploiting his brother's legacy. Bo Dallas ended up saying that he always wanted to be like his brother, and that he looked up to him and wanted to be like him. Bo Dallas ended up saying that he worked his entire career so he could be next to him, and that they were going to rule together, and that they made it. They had it. And then Bo Dallas ended up sadly saying, then it was taken away from me. He ended up saying no one on earth feels like he feels at this loss. So Bo Dallas was like, what am I supposed to do? Become a mausoleum? Bo Dallas ended up saying that he can't let people forget what he stood for. And that they wanted to forget about them all. So Bo Dallas ended up saying that they made them all remember. So Uncle Howdy ended up sadistically smiling, and he ended up saying, yes, we did. So Uncle Howdy was shown sitting across from Bo Dallas, and the video ended up cutting out. And that was that, but overall, I really liked this. Of course, it got, personal because of Uncle Howdy. Still Bo Dallas in, his Uncle Howdy costume. Just talking about, Bo Dallas, like how did it feel when your brother died? Like that. But, I liked it. Really like to see where this is all going to go with the Wyatt Six. But I thought it was cool, filming, them filming Bo Dallas, and then on another side, Uncle Howdy, Bo Dallas dressed as Uncle Howdy. So I liked how the way it was edited. And then we had Kofi Kingston versus Karrion Kross as Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial. Kofi Kingston came out to the stage with Xavier Woods. Woods then ended up going to the back. And, it was, last week where Kofi and Karrion Kross ended up promising last week to keep their partners in the back. So the bell ended up ringing. Kofi ended up immediately drop kicking Kross out of the ring. And then he ended up pinning a somersault senton on Kross. Kofi ended up getting Kross back into the ring. He ended up going to the top rope, but Kross moved out of the way. Kross ended up pinning a backbreaker on Kofi, which was followed up by a Death Valley driver. And Kross ended up going for the cover. Kofi kicked out. He rolled out of the ring to recover. And then as Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, Kofi ended up pinning the Jawbreaker to Kross. Kofi ended up pinning the springboard diving clothesline to Kross, which was followed up by some chops and a drop kick. Kross caught Kofi and drove him into the corner. Kofi then connected with a pendulum kick to Kross's face, and Kofi ended up hitting a diving cross body block. He ended up going for the cover, to which Kross kicked out. Kofi then ended up ducking a punch from Kross, and he took Kross down. Kofi then ended up delivering the boom drop on Kross. And then we saw Paul Ellering. Paul Ellering appeared on the screen. He ended up asking Kofi if it's really worth it. So all we saw was, Authors of Pain, destroying Xavier Woods backstage. Kross ended up taking advantage of the distraction, and he ended up hitting Kofi with the final prayer. Kross went for the cover, and there you go. Karrion Kross ended up winning the match. Overall, quick match this was. And then they said what we're going to see on Monday Night Raw next week, which is going to be from Boston. So Drew McIntyre is going to face Sheamus and Ilya Dragunov in a Triple Threat Money in the Bank qualifying match. That's going to be pretty cool. McIntyre, Sheamus, and Dragunov, all of them in the same ring. That's going to be a banger of a match there. We're going to see Ivy Nile, Zoe Stark, and Dakota Kai also compete in a Triple Threat Money in the Bank qualifying match. And then Dominic will face his father, Rey Mysterio, which I am so over it. Let's move on from Dominic and Rey. Why are they going back to this? And then Liv Morgan is going to defend the Women's World Championship against Lena Vega. Obviously, Liv Morgan will retain. Main event. Finn Balor and JD McDonaugh versus the Miz and R-Truth. This is for the World Tag Team Championship. And this was a alright match here. We had JD McDonaugh and R-Truth start off the match. McDonaugh and Truth end up circling the ring. Balor ended up pushing Truth from the apron. McDonaugh started stomping Truth down. Balor tagged in and he punched Truth and he ended up applying a side headlock. Truth whipped Balor off and connected with a scissor kick to Balor. Truth ended up doing the leap and split, and then he avalanched Balor. Miz tagged in, and we had Miz and Truth end up whipping Balor into the ropes. Miz and Truth end up hitting a double team back elbow to Balor, and then Truth and Miz end up delivering stereo elbows to Balor. McDonaugh then end up running in, but McDonaugh end up eating a double team hip toss from Miz and Truth. So Miz and Truth then end up hitting Balor with a double team flapjack, and then they end up clotheslining McDonaugh over the top rope. And all we saw was Liv Morgan walking to ringside, and she started smiling at Balor. So then as Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, Balor started stomping away at Truth. McDonaugh tagged in, ended up hitting a slingshot moonsault onto Truth. He ended up going for the cover, to which Truth kicked out. Liv Morgan was still out at ringside there. McDonaugh ended up going after Miz, and Balor ended up using distraction to kick Truth in the head. Balor ended up tagging in, and he started punching Truth. Balor ended up sending Truth into the ropes, but he lowered his head, and he ended up eating the kick. Balor tried to rebound, and both Balor and Truth ended up wiping each other out with a double clothesline. So Miz and McDonaugh ended up tagging in. McDonaugh ended up tripping on the ropes, and Miz started kicking and stomping away at McDonaugh. Miz ended up connecting with a penitent corner clothesline to McDonaugh. Miz then jumped off the apron and avoided a kick from Balor, which caused him to kick the ring post. So Dominic and Carlito headed to ringside. Miz attacked Carlito and sent Carlito over the commentary table. Miz ended up hitting McDonaugh with a springboard crossbody block, and he ended up going for the cover, to which McDonaugh ended up kicking out. McDonaugh then booted Miz back. He ended up going to the middle rope, and Miz caught McDonaugh with a lung blower. Balor ended up running in, and Miz ended up hitting Balor and McDonaugh with a double kneel and DDT. So Miz ended up signaling, and he was distracted by Dominic. McDonaugh then rolled Miz up, and Miz kicked out. Miz ended up hitting Dominic with a baseball slide. Miz then ended up hitting McDonaugh with a skull crushing finale. He ended up going for the cover on McDonaugh, but Carlito put McDonough's foot on the bottom rope to break up the pin. To which the ref ended up seeing McDonough's foot on the bottom rope, but didn't see Carlito put McDonough's foot on the bottom rope. So Miz then grabbed Carlito by his hair, but McDonough cut Miz off with a headbutt, and then Braun Strowman's music ended up hitting. Braun Strowman ended up running down to chase Dominic and Carlito out of the arena. Of course, rinse and repeat. We've seen this, last week and, the previous week. And I'm like, this is rinse and repeat. So R-Truth and Balor end up tagging in. Truth ended up hitting a pair of shoulder tackles, which was followed up by a back suplex powerbomb. Of course, R-Truth paying honor of his so-called childhood hero, John Cena, to which, he calls his childhood hero. Balor ended up kicking Truth in the head, and then he ended up hitting the 5-knuckle shuffle. Balor ended up attacking Miz before he got into the ring. Truth ended up hitting Balor with drop toe hold and applied an STF. McDonaugh then broke up the STF and drop kicked Miz coming off the ropes. Truth ended up hitting McDonaugh with a back suplex powerbomb. Balor then rolled up Truth for a 2 count. Truth then ended up hitting Balor with a back suplex powerbomb next to McDonaugh. And so Truth then ended up hitting both Balor and McDonaugh with a knuckle shuffle. Not only it wasn't a 5-knuckle shuffle, it was a 10-knuckle shuffle. And that knocked McDonaugh out of the ring. Liv Morgan got on the apron. Liv Morgan ended up calling R-Truth over for a hug. Liv Morgan then snapped R-Truth off the top rope, and Balor ended up hitting Truth with a drop kick, with the Woo drop kick. Balor then ended up going up to the top, and he hit the coup de grace on Truth. So Balor ended up going for the cover, and there you go. Finn Balor and Jade McDonaugh are your new World Tag Team Champions. And I am glad. I was so over of the Miz and R-Truth as the Tag Team Champions. So I was glad to see Balor and Jade McDonaugh take the titles off of Miz and R-Truth. But post-match, Balor and McDonaugh posed on the ramp, and Liv Morgan ended up running up to stand between them. And pretty much that was basically how Monday Night Raw went off the air. Overall, it was a okay match here. So at least, the titles are on Balor and McDonaugh. But overall, Monday Night Raw, decent show it was tonight. But anyways, that's it for the Monday Night Raw review. Thank you all for watching. Hope you all enjoyed this review. Definitely give the video a thumbs up. Comment, subscribe. Might not do a Dynamite review on Wednesday, because I'll be working. And then Friday there will be no SmackDown review. Same because I'll be working late. So, who knows, what will happen. Another video that I could post. So we'll see what happens. But anyways, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all later.